Good evening, everyone. So today we from Communica IIT Kharagpur will be presenting the CV workshop, and our panelists are Adarsh Gupta, Nestle, and Somil Gupta, Accenture Japan. So without further delay, let's start with the session.
Okay, so hi everyone. So before starting, we'll just set some ground rules. For any kind of question, we'll take every questions towards the end of the section, and we'll keep the presentation short and keep at least 15 to 20 minutes for Q&A so that all of your queries are answered. And also, we'll start with a short introduction. I'm Somil Gupta. I'm currently final year student, fifth year student, pursuing BTech in chemical engineering and MTech in financial engineering. And I have worked with organizations such as Credit Suisse, Accrete.ai, and I am Bangalore. These were my summer internships, and also Fractal Analytics. These were my internships, and I got placement from Accenture Japan. Adarsh, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible to everyone. My name is Adarsh. I'm a final year student of the Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering, enrolled in its BTech course. I had an opportunity to intern at Nestle and Axis Bank in my pre-final year, and I had a PPO from Nestle. Prior to that, I have worked with a few business schools, renowned business schools, on different projects. So this is something about me. Uh, Before we start, can I know which year guys we have? I hope there are no first years in this session. I'm not against it, but I just wanted to know. Like in case second year guys can and girls can raise their hand, just to know understanding of the audience.
Yeah, that would be great.
Second year specifically. I hope there are plenty.
Okay.
I'm hoping that most of you are from second or third year.
Yeah.
So we will keep our presentation accordingly. And in case, if in case any secretary can start the recording so that we can start.
Yeah, the recording is started.
Okay, now we can start then.
Okay, cool. Okay, move to next slide. Okay, so as many of you are from second year, and we want to keep our whole presentation generic, not just limited to CDC. I'm hoping that most of you would be applying for internships or have already gotten some internship for your this summer, which is your second year summer, and also the third year students. So obviously, while applying off campus, you will need a cover letter of sorts, especially if you are applying for FTs or research internship, and you will also need some kind of cover letter if you're applying for corporate internship, if you have got someone's mail ID directly. So we'll just keep it brief regarding the cover letter section. So basic cover letter answers three questions. You need to answer three questions. Who are you? Why you are fit for the organization? And why do you want to work for the organization? Okay, so first section of the cover letter is usually description about yourself. And then in the second part of the cover letter, you tell you about your skills and abilities that would be fit for the organization, and why a particular specific internship. Like if you are applying for a machine learning internship, then you will mention about your skill sets, such as Python really good, what kind of frameworks you have worked on, be it TensorFlow, or what kind of models you have worked on, just machine learning or deep learning models. So something of that sort. And you will also want to include something which is very unique to yourself, like that will make you stand apart. And this unique part of aspect would be very much relevant in your CV also, and also in your interviews. So we'll cover that in detail. What do you mean by unique? And the third part is while you are writing and the final part is of the internship is why that particular organization is fit for your career goals. So you just need to answer three questions. Suppose you are applying to some research institute, then you need to justify that why a particular program would improve your career opportunities. Like if you are applying for a B school, then you would mention that you want to pursue your career in finance, and the kind of projects that you will get at that particular B school would be really great for your CV and what you want to achieve in life. Like maybe you are aiming for a CFA. Then these things need to be answered in your cover letter. And while mentioning everything, you need to be very unique, and you need to exemplify a lot. Like by exemplification means you need to give examples from your life. Like suppose if I want to write that I'm a really fast learner, I have a very sharp learning curve, then that won't be suffice in your cover letter. You need to exemplify, in your previous you can give example that you have worked with so and so organization, or you have worked under so and so professor, and the project which was given to you, you had no idea about that project, and within a short span period of 1 month you learned everything about that particular project, and you just started implementing that project. Or any very short project, like within a short period of time you were able to implement the whole paper, and you will able to get some results. So in that means way, I mean to exemplify. Also you need to mention about your academics, like any specific academic achievement if you have. Like I though didn't have any specific academic achievement that stood out. Like if you are a departmental rank holder, or you have an insti rank, that would be really great. If you had like gotten a DEPSI, that also shows some academic excellence, or you have qualified NTSC or RMO. So you need to mention all these things in your cover letter. And then also you can mention about your extracurricular activities, because some kind of like big organization, or even research when you're applying for research internship, it really looks good if you have some kind of social work or some kind of voluntary experience if you have on your cover letter, specifically if you are going to apply for your master's program. But you guys are mainly applying for internship, so that doesn't have much weightage. But if you have something of voluntary experience, then you can write about it. And the most important thing about a cover letter or any CV also is to proofread. Proofread is like you should not have any spelling or grammatical errors, and you should not have anything blown out of proportion. So like for proofreading, I would highly suggest that first round of you should have 3 rounds of proofreading. First you proofread yourself, like go to Grammarly, put your whole cover letter to check for spelling or grammatical errors. Then second round of proofreading involves go to one of your very close friends, or someone whom you know, and tell him or her to please proofread your whole thing, whether it looks good or not. And then our third round of proofreading involves sending your cover letter or CV to any senior, like who is really highly experienced in this, so that you can check for any grammatical error, or whether if you have written something right or wrong, or you are like conveying everything in a proper manner. So that would be basics of cover letter. Adarsh, over to you. Adarsh, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Just a minute.
Sure.
So, as Somal explained about cover letter thing, and just to make clear, we are going to cover the CV part, but we just decided that it would be better if we can get a list of other relevant things which will be help in your application. Moving to the next slide, Somal, can you just move?
Yeah, it's not moving.
If anyone from the presenter. So the next thing will be having a signature. So a few points which I would like to mention in the signature. Keep it simple and concise. It should, like for example, in this signature, you can see that there is the name of the guy, the year in which he's enrolled, and the department, and or do mention institute. Do mention your LinkedIn profile. Facebook profile is not necessary in case if you're applying for research intern, but some organizations might look for it, though it's not relevant. What difference will your signature make? It shows it shows a good impression on the recruiter, on the person receiving your mail, and it shows that the mail has been sent from a relevant person. So, and obviously having and signature will help you mention your college this without mentioning that you are from that particular college. Yeah. Moving to the next slide. So I hope most of you have secured your internship, but coming to there are uh, few, few, few widely used platforms which we all have used till to bag our internships. Obviously, you guys will be having a CDC internships in the next semester during August. But for this summer, I hope for those who didn't receive their internship offer till now, the first one is using your personal contact. This is the best way to get secure an intern, specifically in those cases where uh, the the difference which your personal contact will create is that your resume will get screened by the recruiter, and also the chances of getting an interview will be very higher. Next, there are several internship portals like Internshala or AngelList. On AngelList, you can get good internship from startups based in Singapore, US, and all those countries. Using third one will be using your alumni connections. And before going to alumni connections, you should seek out to seniors or any of your relative contacts who has previously interned in that organization. That will help you a lot, because they will give you the genuine leads which will definitely reply to your emails. Coming to then the third phase step should be going for alumni connections, like KGP alumni working in that particular organization. They are very helpful, and I can say it from my personal experience that they help you a lot. They will for sure refer your resume to the recruiter. But I would highly recommend that if you are approaching an alumni, firstly try to find out, and if you are applying in particular in a big organization, firstly try to know whether there is an internship opening in that organization or not, because a lot of times people approach the alumni, and alumni might or might not, but in most of the cases they refer your resume to HR, but there are no relevant openings. And this is true in case of bigger organizations. Then there are company portals or research programs, like in case if someone is looking for research intern, MyTax, RAD, UARE or a new research experience are some of the most widely known research internship programs where our alumni or students have already interned. The next and the last step should be LinkedIn or by cold mailing. Though this is the order which I personally followed, I'm not recommending that this is the rule, the solid rule that you should follow this only. But going for the LinkedIn thing, just a minute, can you just hold? Yeah, sorry for the disruption. I personally speaking, LinkedIn is a platform where you will approach hundred of people, and there are good chances that only 5 of them, and in many cases none of them, are going to reply to your request. And and the same happens in cold mailing, or the company employees or recruiters also. Specifically, if someone is looking for a research intern, I have seen people mailing hundreds of mail and didn't getting a response. Though this is very luck-based thing, but I would recommend, since Somil can emphasize and explain much more about mailing thing, I will focus on LinkedIn part here. So for LinkedIn, I would recommend is your LinkedIn should be professional. It should be up to date. Mention all the relevant things in relevant section only. I have seen people mentioning participation in a competition as an experience that should not be there, or just citing an example what mistakes people make in the LinkedIn. Your bio should be nice and should explain the person you are, and the kind of the industry which you are targeting to should be clear from your bio itself. Uh, do mention your do attach if you have some relevant projects, or in case if you have some good accomplishment, then do attach those in your LinkedIn profile. It makes your profile more authentic, and if someone visits you, there are more chances that they are going to respond. Be proactive. Never ever just send a simple LinkedIn request. Always send a message request. And that should be crisp and concise. Because as far as I know, LinkedIn gives you only 500 words limit, so you have to make it concise. Try to also mention your resume drive link. It might happen that he or she just tries to open your resume, and if the recruiter is interested in you, he might accept your request. Once your accept is getting accepted, do not just jump to the main business that you're looking for this. Try to build a connect between you and the recruiter, and then given the fact that it's already March, I would recommend that since you guys have less time, you can just go for cold a connection request or cold emailing. But for that, you have to follow the basic principle of probability, that you have to mail as much as possible to get as much as possible positive leads from the emailing. There is one portal called massapply.com. I'm not sure whether you have heard about it. It's a platform which provides you you to cold mail thousands of people at a time, and recently they have added the feature to also add your resume while mailing. So this makes your job actually very simple. Somil, if you can just brief them about the mailing.
Yeah. I just want to, before moving to this mailing thing, this Shivam Praveen has asked one question: how to approach alumni connection? Do you want to take this up, Adarsh? Like I have. Yeah, go for it.
I can, and then I guess you should also mention your insights. For that, for approaching an alumni, to be honest, like I'm not sure how many of have you lived in halls of residence for a longer period of time, but there are few established alumni who are very much connected to their halls of residence. So if any of your alumni, in case you know if an alumni from your hall, you can mention that too in your approaching mail. And also it should not the tone should be formal, as you are approaching any particular employee of that company, but do try to find a common connect between you and your alumni. Then things might get little bit easier. But usually KGP alumni are very much generous, that they will accept your connections for sure, and they will definitely respond to your queries. And your queries should be very specific, because since they are working professionals, they have time crunch. I have seen people randomly approaching alumni for general fund days. Please do not approach them, because their time is very precious. Your time, you people are in the exploration phase. They are not in the exploration phase. So your queries should be very specific. And if your queries are specific and you are giving value to their time, then they get the sense that you are genuinely interested in getting the conversation to the next level. Yeah. So this is what I usually recommend. No specific rule for alumni. Just try to get a common connect.
Yeah. So like basically the same thing. You can reach out someone from your hall, or you can reach out someone from your society also. And by alum connections, not just alum connections, you can also reach out to people whom you know. Like you being in second year, you can approach someone in fifth year. Don't ask can you help me get an internship? You can just simply ask hey, I'm so and so, and I saw on your LinkedIn profile that you worked in this company. I would be really grateful if you can give me some contact, or some HR's contact, or someone from the team in which you worked to contact, and send them my CV. Don't ask for referrals directly. first try this. So that's a great starting point. And similarly goes for cold mailing or cold LinkedIn request also. So I'm very hopeful with LinkedIn, like my second year internship, my third year internship, and my third year winter internship. I got through some contact, but I got another offer also through LinkedIn and mailing only. So I'm very positive about these things. But only thing that you need to remember for LinkedIn or cold reach out or mailing is that you need to send hundreds and hundreds of mails. Like I remember that in my third year actually, I got an offer from some university, and towards the end, my offer was revoked because they did not have any funding, much of the funding left. So I was left out to dry. And in May, starting after our end sems, basically, I started reaching out to everyone on LinkedIn, and after sending like around 80 to 90 message requests every day, on 5th of May, I got some positive hope, and I gave 3 interviews, and one of them I cracked, and I finally got my offer. So my advice to you, all of you, is like don't be shy to cold reach out. Like you can just simply I will just give you one example what I usually like used to write while sending message LinkedIn request. Like I used to write, hi, I'm Somil Gupta, fourth year or third year undergraduate student at IIT Kharagpur, and I'm looking for opportunities to work as an intern at so and so organization. I would be really thankful if you could help me in this regard. And just simply send this message and attach my CV link. And when they used to connect, I did not used to like directly jump to the main topic of conversation. I used to always write like, I'm really thankful that you accepted my connection request, and how are you, these type of things. And then I used to send my CV and said that can you please tell me someone from email ID of someone from your team or HR's mail ID so that I can send my CV. And they used to be very helpful. And as Adarsh mentioned, that you need to be very much optimistic. Like you will send out 100 LinkedIn message requests in a day, only 10 or 20 of them would be accepted, or maybe 30, and only 5 or 4 people will respond to the message request. And only one of them would be like, okay, yeah, we have an opportunity. So just keep sending mails and keep sending message requests. This is the only way to crack any internship through LinkedIn or mailing. And as others also said, as we all need to do some smart work, and we can save some energy, because you are not learning nothing after you have like built your CV and created your CV and also created a cover letter. There's nothing new to left, nothing new left to learn. So what you can do is always go for personal contacts, because that's basically Mazduri only. You are sending out hundreds and hundreds of requests. So if you have an option of using your personal contacts, then please definitely go for it. If you have some sort of alumni connection, then definitely please go for it. I used to think that in my second year or third year, I don't know if many of you think that that's a shortcut, and I wouldn't. I used to appreciate these things, but over the time, I have learned that using contacts is to get internship is the best way to get some internship while you are applying off campus. That's my point of view. Anything else related to?
Someone asked that is it possible to get a research intern through LinkedIn? Yes, if some corporate is looking for it.
Yeah.
So research institute or academic institute is going to offer their internship through LinkedIn. You have to either apply through mailing or through any program that the university has to offer. Yeah, moving to the next slide. Yeah, Somil, if you can just brief them.
So
basically,
yeah. So basically, these are the useful extensions that we used to use, and like I'm not very fan of these. Like I'm fan of Grammarly. You can just install this extension in your Chrome browser, and all your mails and LinkedIn messages, whatever you write, will be checked for grammatical errors. And MailTrack also, you can keep to track if your mails are read or not. and Boomerang is used to schedule your mails. And now we have something called Streak, which does both the things. And I guess Gmail is offering to like schedule your mail. So not very helpful. Others, you want to take up about this Hola or LinkedIn sales? Yeah.
Yeah, just before going to that, just to inform you guys, I'm not sure whether you are aware of it or not. I would request our communique secretaries to just share that article which communique has released few years back. Basically, Institute provides access to LinkedIn Premium through Institute mail IDs. Just in case if you guys don't know, you can use it. Just to
Same goes for Grammarly also. Grammarly also
Yeah.
Premium is provided by Institute. You can search on Communique page, Facebook page. You will get definitely the step-by-step guide to install Grammarly. Or if
LinkedIn Sales Navigator or Hula Connect, basically these are the platforms from where you can extract email IDs of companies, employees working in that company. One way which I used to do is try to get the domain name, domain address, domain name of that particular company, like how is email ID of that company planned, and then I just used to write the name at the rate. Like for Nestle, it should be like let's say Anunay.Sharma at the rate Nestle.co.in. So basically Nestle.co.in is the domain name of Nestle. This is one way you can just give it a try. At times it works, and usually it works. Just to let you know. You can just Google about these extensions, as these extensions are not that much thing to discuss about. You can just Google out. You can just Google out useful tools and extension for your improvised emailing. You will easily get some logs. Moving to the next slide.
Also, Shivam, these are not effective on Zimbra as far as I know. But you in Zimbra, you have an option to schedule the like emails. And just a word of caution, like after, like I don't know, sometimes it has happened with me and some of my friends also. Like while you're applying through Zimbra, sometimes your mails are not sent. So just keep that in mind. Like,
and also,
just be cautious.
Just regarding mail track, though no one is getting offended from it, but a lot of people don't find it good that you are sending
sending through mail track.
It shows that you are very much desperate. So I won't recommend using mail track.
Also, like I am pretty sure about this thing that some of the universities' website block any mails which are sent using mail track. So like if you're going for research internship, then to definitely I would say that don't send using mail track. Just be patient and keep sending follow-ups. One thing I want to add, just keep sending follow-ups. Like even if your LinkedIn request is accepted and that person has not replied, you just need to send a follow-up that, hi so and so, I know you must be busy, but could you please help me in the above related to above internship opportunity or anything. And same thing applies for emails also. Like if you're sending some prof, just like send a follow-up after 2 to 3 days, like, hi Professor so and so, I know you must be busy, but I would be really grateful if you could just tell me that is there any internship opportunity or research internship opportunity available with you at this moment. So like you just need to do that.
And also while applying for research interns, some professors usually send your mails to categorize your mails to spam which have some attachment related to it. It does not happen every time, but just to let you know, rather what you can do is you can attach your resume your resume's link in the email ID. Also, if someone has their website, it would be best if you can list down all your resume in a web form also. That basically implies you have an additional skill. That actually implies that you have an additional skill that you know how to build websites. And it's a very good and building website requires multiple languages familiarity. So that's just mentioning it. Moving to the next slide.
So basically making a CV, like this is a very basic format that we definitely use. Like Like if you directly jump on to start making a CV from scratch, it can be very matlab like boring, and it can be really painful also. You don't know what exactly to write. So like we have this learning, planning, and execution roadmap. So first of all, like you need to be very sure like on which type of company or which type of profile you are applying for. So every profile requires a different kind of CV, not very different, but different kind in the way how things are written. So every CV, like every profile needs a different kind of CV. So learning is like learn about the companies and their profiles for the internships which you are applying for. Planning includes like write down everything. Like if you write one by one, then you might forget. So just take a pen and paper and write down every necessary details that is required, or every internship, or think about every competition you have participated in or won, and write down everything on paper, and then plan your CV. Like where will be whether my academic achievements are seems to be more important, or whether my internships show like I'm a better person. So planning needs to be there, and then start designing your CV from scratch in a like Word or even Overleaf CV, or next year you would be designing your CV in ERP template on ERP. So that's learning, planning, and execution. Yeah.
Also, what I personally feel, which Somil mentioned, is highly recommended that looking back to all your achievements, whether it was an achievement or not, but you should at least get to know what you have done. The competition might not be that much big, but you should at least get to know that, because a lot of time, a lot of things are not written on your CV, but during interviews, those things
Yeah.
can matter, because like let's say if you are having a interview with a fintech firm, your resume is highly technical, and you have won numerous competitions, and you have very good code forces ranking, and you are ICPC winner. Just a minute. Uh, Sorry for the interruption. So basically, but since it's a fintech firm, and it might have happened that you have participated in some case study competition related to financial. Yeah, if you have some knowledge regarding financial modeling, that using Excel, like I'm not sure like how many of you have used Excel to a very exhaustive manner, but Excels are actually used for making financial model. And I guess every senior you will know one tool which they will highly recommend to learn, and specifically for finance, that would be
Finance.
Excel.
Yeah.
Especially
Like
for finance, because
using
I guess,
PVA.
yeah,
Yeah.
and also you can make good highly visually appealing dashboards also using
Yeah.
Excel. I'm not sure whether you have explored it or not, but you can just take up a course on that and try to build a dashboard using Power BI and Excel, or rather taking a course from corporate. So these are things which you might not have written on your CV, but if you have prepared it well, and even if you're not written in your CV, you can explain to the recruiter during the interview. So that's why it's very important to know what you have done till now.
Yeah, always keep a Google Doc in whatever competitions you have participated. Like I have already won in one competition and reached to finals of world finals of two competitions. So these are the only three competitions that I write about in my CV. But I have participated in over 30 competitions throughout my like 4 to 5 years, even more than 30. So I can't write about them in my CV because I did not score like secure any rank, but I have all written in my like whiteboard and even in a doc, so that whenever I have a specific interview, like Adarsh is talking like something related to some case study that research firm wants, then I can tell that, okay, this is not in my CV, but I would like to tell you about this competition that I participated in. I did not win that competition, but I learned a lot. And so I already have a background in what your requirement is. So that could be very useful. Yeah. Adarsh, over to you.
Yeah, so this is something which Komil mentioned. So moving to the next slide, I can rather explain it with an example itself.
This
Komil, I
is
think
this is not a
in,
presentation. Yeah.
I think they didn't make the changes. So, can you present that rather?
Yeah. Sure. Just give me a moment.
Uh, so your secretary is presenting just for the timing can stop sharing. Thank you.
Uh, just give me a moment. Um, is my screen visible?
Yeah,
I
your
guess
screen is visible for me.
no. My browser is visible or not?
Yeah, your browser is visible.
Okay.
I hope it's with everyone.
Yeah. Is presentation visible, Arash?
Yeah, it's visible to me. Just in case if you guys can see it,
Yes, it is
can just
visible.
raise your hand or just let us know in the comments.
Is it
Yeah.
CV visible to
So
everyone?
I hope this TV is visible to everyone.
Others, I
Uh,
was just suggesting that can we just go with do's and don'ts regarding CV and then show them exactly what exactly is required?
exactly. Yeah. So
है ना?
for in case,
So,
yeah, so just you can
so,
for the timing, yeah, explain it. Then I will explain with
uh,
resume.
these are things to include that are necessary in your CV. Like you can choose any standard format, and you need to mention about your personal details. And personal details will show what are important. And just remember one thing specifically, that if you're applying for an off-campus intern, you need to mention your email ID and you need to mention your mobile number correctly on your CV. So these are the things that are really required. Then you may or may not go for a objective. I usually don't go with objective. I skip it and directly start with educational details. Then you can mention about your scholastic achievement, relevant coursework. If you are in a second year, then you might not have many internship. Then I would suggest to have a relevant coursework section. And over the years, when you will reach in a final year or your fourth year, you will have too many things to write on in your CV. So you will skip with a relevant coursework section. And or if you are applying for a particular internship that requires to have core internship, so it's better to have a relevant coursework session. That depends on profile you're applying for. Then followed by a skills and expertise section, will definitely show how you can show that. And obviously work experience, which includes your internships, and then projects and POR, and then followed by extracurricular activities. And now coming to the most important things, I know most of you would know, can learn about do's and like building a basic CV by just Googling. But here we are to tell you what we think is really important to include in a CV. Always use tables. Like appropriate font size should be 9 or 10. Provide contact details. This is really important. And if you're applying for off campus, you may or may not include your photograph. Like for our CDC, you need to include your photograph, but if you're applying for off campus, you may or may not include your photograph. I will show you my off campus CV, how it looks. And try to keep your CV in one page. That's highly recommendable, to not to go beyond one page. Like I can assure you, like Adarsh, he has done so many things, but he has always managed to keep his CV under one page. And also start every line with an action verb. We'll show you with examples what exactly the action verbs are. And also always put up links and not attachments for CV, as Adarsh has already mentioned. If you are specifically mailing, then don't use attachment. It would be highly advisable to go for some Google Drive link of your CV. Don'ts are never use anything which is like very have too many colors. Your CV should have always a dual tone, at max a 3-tone CV. Okay, never use I, and always write in passive format. Always put non-quantifiable achievement, and write paragraphs. I said it should be quantifiable achievement, not
Somewhere it's
non-quantifiable.
don't.
Okay. It's gone. What?
No, it's written in the don'ts
Acha,
passage.
don'ts. Okay. Sorry.
Just
Never put non-quantifiable achievement. Sorry. Never put non-quantifiable achievement, and that others would be telling how to write quantifiable achievement. Uh, don't write paragraphs. Don't use different fonts, and never ever make false claims or achievement. And it will always turn up in a bad manner, if you overshow your achievements or make any false claim or done any show any project which you haven't done, it always turns up showing up in you in a bad light, because they can go deep and you would be shown in a very bad picture. So now coming to all these do's and don'ts that Adarsh would be covering. Yeah, Adarsh. This is Adarsh CV, and you can see that he has done many things and he has still managed to keep his CV under one page. Yeah, Adarsh, go for it.
So just to let you guys know, CDC will give you options to make 3 different resumes. I have never seen anyone making 3 different resumes for 3 different profiles, because no one gets managed to do that many things. Basically, at a time at max one person can make only 2 resumes, and I'm hoping that you guys are having a CDC intern next semester. I'm damn sure no one is going to cross the A1 page limit, because you don't have that much good quality content. If you just want to fill it, you can fill it, but then the quality of your resume will get degraded. I know friends who have their resume filled up to 3/4 of the page. So I'm not recommending it, but they were damn good in those 3/4 of the page that the recruiter never had to look at those white space. But I won't recommend it. So coming with awards and achievements, like first one is one research paper which I wrote, which is still under processing. So basically, it was related to public policy, which is not relevant for placement, but it's having a research paper shows that you are academically good. So that's why I mentioned it. And similarly, do highlight relevant things, like for say, do highlight the competition names, do highlight the score which you get, and make sure that it's written in passive form. Let's say for co-authored, represented, invited, secured. These are the action verbs which we were telling while during 2 slides back, which Somil was telling. For your internships and projects, I highly recommend. Regarding white spaces, you can see that in each and every internship there is. I didn't make. Firstly, I try to make it look uniform, and also once the location gets over, the date is written at the end. I have seen people like mentioning the organization name in the left end, profile in the middle, and duration in the right. But I don't recommend that, as white spaces are highly prohibited, and a lot of firms where you apply off campus have resume screeners, and in those they just reject your resume. Also, never ever make a spelling mistake. Never ever, because in those cases your resume, even if your resume is very good, it's going to for sure getting rejected. It's for sure going to get rejected. Now, if you are explaining any project, firstly you should write what is the project. Like let's say digitization. For like Nestle, so basically I was working in the quality assurance division, and I was working in production planning unit in its dairy supply chain business. So basically I just mentioned what was the project, what I did, and do mention by quantifiable results. What I mentioned is projected output productivity by this time, and basically try to quantify your physical results in the form of number, because everyone is looking for that number thing. Given the fact we all are in an undergrad STEM background, everyone is interested to know about the numbers. You can Excel-based macro model, and I actually have mentioned this Excel thing a lot of times. Reason being, the profile I was targeting at require good knowledge of Excel and some visualization tools. That's why, and I didn't mention that as a skill. Rather, it has been shown that the exemplifying thing which Somil mentioned while during the cover letter thing, this is what he meant to say, that if you know a skill, try to demonstrate the impact it created, the result you generated using that skill. The same thing will happen with internships. There's no need to worry about if you don't have these many. by the time you guys will be sitting in a placement, everyone gets a good number of projects and internships in their resume. So it's not a time thing to worry about, especially for the second year. I know I myself didn't have that much thing at the end of second year, but with time you can easily progress. Similar with projects, and also one major thing which I wanted to mention, like firstly I mentioned the organization, then the profile, then the location, and then I tried to ensure that it is getting streamlined in all of my internship and projects. As you can see that firstly I mentioned the organization, then the profile, then the location. It might seem useless what I'm trying to say right now, but when you are applying for off campus and when your resume will get rejected by the ATS scanner, then you guys will for sure understand its importance, and I hope you guys don't commit such mistakes. And for internships and projects, I read in a blog basically from one of my seniors. So basically, what he mentioned is that try to follow an OSR strategy. By OSR, you mean to firstly mention the objective of your project, what strategies you used, and what was the result you achieved using that strategy. So these three things should be clearly conveyed through your project. Somil, going to the next slide. Yeah, for the position of responsibility thing, these four were the PORs which I hold during my third year or fourth year or whatever I have stint at college. Do mention like for what I used to do as a POR thing, like let's say I would like to highlight for 180 degrees consulting, because this is something which is closely attached to me since as I was one of the founders. So like basically what I write institutionalized a 50-member team working on private CSR initiatives, and so basically try to mention as for applying for off campus, like if let's say someone is working in entrepreneurship cell, then it's clearly visible that that person is working related something to entrepreneurship. But let's say if someone is working in Spectra, people or a professional working in a company might not be knowing what Spectra is. So you should try to mention in one way or the other that Spectra is the institute graphic design and sketching society related to sketching and art, promoting and art and culture. Now, what was your portfolio in that? What what I can say, like let's say for last year I was in communication, like part of 6-member Apex team as this. So just trying to explain you what I did. And for extracurriculars, it's up to you whether you want to mention it or not. I did mention because I have seen the profiles I was targeting for do require good amount of extracurricular activity. And just to let you know, the profiles I was looking for do require the diversity which I can display through my resume. There are profiles which are highly technical. There is no need to focus a lot on POR and extracurriculars. They will be definitely interested in your projects, internships, relevant skill, relevant competition. But the roles which I was targeting, there it is. Like let's say, if in case someone is looking for supply chain, obviously you should be very well versed with your core discipline. But since that role is physically demanding, as if you're working in an FMCG firm, like just giving a gist of you, like if someone of you is looking for a FMCG in targeting FMCG companies in CDC, so they look for people who have diverse experience. The only reason being the nature of job they will assign you while your internship are one of the three, which are as either you will be optimizing time, either you will be optimizing human resource, or either you will be optimizing the monetary resources. And during my Nestle intern, why I mentioned that reduce this time by this percentage and all, because this is what you are expected to do in an FMCG intern. Given the fact the companies you are applying to will be the point of contact will be a KGP alumnus for sure, and he or she knows how things work, and you cannot be fooling. So just this was something just we wanted to highlight through my resume. And moving to the next slide, Somesh. And
Just
if
I want to
anyone
add
has any,
few.
yeah,
Yeah,
Somesh.
yeah. I just you go ahead, others. You what complete what we were
No,
saying.
I was just wanted to say, like, if anyone has some question on it, we can take it at the end of
Definitely.
the session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to add a few things. So basically, you can see that like when you have option for making two CVs, and being in your second year or third year, who would be sitting for your internships in third year or fourth year, upcoming third year or fourth year, I would highly recommend that how you can utilize these three CVs. Okay, suppose someone is from machine learning profile. Okay, and I have lot of technical things filled up in my CV. So I will write about XGBoost, I will write about random forest, I will write about deep learning technique, LSTMs, but everything I write. Okay. So first CV would be filled up with technical details so that any person who would be interviewing me for technical profile, in particularly in the form of a machine learning internship, then that CV would be very much understandable to that person. But the another CV which I will have would contain everything in a very simplistic language, not filled with very technical words, so that if by chance I do not end up getting selected for any machine learning firms and having only one CV, which will go to some other firms, suppose it is a FMCG firm and they don't understand what machine learning is. Suppose someone coming from non-machine learning background won't be able to understand what all terms you have written, and like that would be garbage for him only, because he will straight away consider that this person is not very much useful to my particular portfolio. So I would highly recommend make two CVs, one filled up with technical details, some another CV filled up with like very non-technical, not very like tech heavy words. Just keep a simple jargon so that any person from any background could understand those things. So in this way you can use two profiles. And also like when you will like come in your final year, you will have a tendency that suppose I'll have three CVs, one for finance profile, one for machine learning profile, and third just a general CV. So in my finance profile it requires to have like PORs and everything, or consulting profile it requires to have PORs. Then I will like shorten my research projects to just 2 lines and keep or fill up all the PORs. But in my machine learning CV, which is a very tech heavy profile, I'll do one thing. I'll shorten my PORs, keep them to 2 lines, and explain heavily on my projects and internships which were technical. So that's the way to go for it. And also I will have a different skills and like expertise section in which I will write technical skills, these kind of things, like all the languages, tools and programs that I used. So in that way you can arrange your two CV things. I know for some of you it might be confusing, but next year when you would be making your CDC CV, these things will come in handy. Like you will be able to appreciate like how to use two CV things. Okay. Yeah, Adarsh.
So
Yeah.
regarding, Sumil, you can move to the action
Huh.
verbs thing.
So these
So
were the
basically,
sorry.
Sumil,
Yeah,
just I want to mention one thing. Also, though this year you guys had your internship, had our CDC conducted its whole process in online phase. I'm not sure about what's going to happen in this August. I'm hoping that you guys are all back to the campus and process gets conducted in offline manner.
physical
In
manner.
that case, yeah, in that case, what happens is during your interviews, basically you are expected to take a printout of your resume with you. As Somil said, even during the interview, there are different stages of interview. If you have both
Hmm.
your CVs handy, like in your HR interview, your resume, even if your resume is not filled with technical words, it's completely fine. In that interview, you can share the resume which is more relevant to your, not to your hard skills but your soft skills and your overall person,
Hmm.
and demonstrating your overall personality. That will be a plus, because HR will
Hmm.
be easily and comprehending what you are trying to say. And in your
Hmm.
ML wala interview, you can switch that technical one.
Yeah,
to
always have your both your resume or three resume, or only if you end up making one resume, always have 5 copies of all your resumes, like
in
highly,
print
highly
if you are in
recommended.
campus. Yeah.
Printed in your folder. Always keep a folder with all your resumes and everything which may be required.
And I
Yeah.
hope you guys with time will know that you have to subscribe to MFTP. Keep your friends
Yeah.
close while we will discuss what external factors or what small
Uh,
things which matter at the end. At
hmm.
the end,
Yeah.
these
At
are
the
some
end,
action
towards.
verbs which you
Hmm.
can use. Uh, I guess secretaries will share this PPT with you once post this session. So don't
Hmm.
need to write it down. You can just
Even you
and
can
even if
Google
you are,
them. You will.
yeah,
You
just
will.
Google
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So always start with if you're mentioning any research skill, don't write I did this. Always write like collected data of 5 mutual fund companies to demonstrate the effect of something in that format. So these action words should be used to in the starting of the sentence, and it will be like look really good. Like it's not very much necessary, but what I and others have always tried to do, like like always start every sentence with a different action verb.
Yeah.
Like if you see
And
others
also,
CV, you can
yes,
see
Sumit.
yeah, others, go for it. Let me complete this. You can see
Let
others CV. You can see that all the first words in all the sentences are different. Administered, initiated, spearheaded, garnered, co-authored, conducted. Like like he has tried to keep everything different, and that's highly recommendable. And also highlight the major points also. Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, and if you are forming any particular sentence, you are not getting how to form it. This is one thing which you can use in your initial time while making the CV, and with time you will easily find out what suits best for you, what you did, how you did, and what was the result. This is uh, these
Yeah,
three. If these three questions are answered in your internships and projects, I guess you have done your job correctly.
yeah, exactly. OSR technique, objective of the internship, strategy that you applied, and results that you got. Like these are the basic thing to write down any CV. You got everything covered if you answer these 3 questions. Okay. Uh, Also, yeah, others, do you want to take this up? Like,
Yeah.
you think?
So I hope that you guys have already attended the different profile interviews which were conducted by Student Welfare Committee in association with different student groups. These questions are these things are ones which will anyway you will be getting, which will anyway helping you. First one is be confident and energetic. Reason being, if you are getting shortlisted for an interview, it means that you have cleared the preliminary test, which shows that you have some technical skill.
Which they are required.
Much above, yeah, above the par the requirement they are looking out, they are looking into a candidate. During the interview, try to look in this way that while you are what they are trying to test, and specifically in the HR interview, that they are trying to try to find the culture fit for their company. Like every company has
Mm,
particular set of values, and during the interview, they are trying to find that whether you resonate, whether one the interview is resonating those values during the conversation or not. And no one is interested to talk to a underconfident or less
mm,
lethargic person. To be honest,
mm,
everyone wants to uh, interact or try to build a conversation with those who are friendly and those who make conversation very much interesting and fun. So you should think it that manner that Somil, I guess you stopped.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was just checking. Yeah. Good.
Be clear, concise, and articulate. By this, you don't need to use heavy jargon, heavy words. You just have to use simple English and try to, as the purpose of any language is to communicate your ideas clearly. If you are doing that, as far as you're doing that, everything is fine. No one is going to judge you. You are not going to get shortlisted for your accent or your the way you. But one point which I feel that people mislead, presentability and accent are two different things. You should be presentable. I'm not saying that you should not be presentable, because if you're not presentable, if you're not able to put complex things in a concise manner, then things might get difficult for you. And for that, what you can do is try to have a mock interview with your batchmates and
Yeah.
and your seniors whom you closely know, because this is the
And
only way you
yeah.
can overcome this.
Yeah. And I would like what I used to do, which really helped me. I have a few technical interns, like which are ML and everything heavy, and I used to go for finance interview, and sometimes it end up that they don't know ML. Like most of the time, finance guys know ML. So to prepare for that, what I used to do, I used to call one of my friend who had not done any ML related internship. I used to call him, give him my CV, and then like go for a mock interview. If I am able to explain like a naive person what all things I did in that internship, then my job is done. If he understands,
Uh,
then my job is done. Like what kind of
I
optimization I was trying to, yeah,
yeah,
trying to do. So
just
my job is done.
fortified what Somil said. One of my friend during HSBC interview in this placement season itself, basically what they asked is that they asked him to explain the most recent intern which he did in summer, as if he has to explain that to his grandmother.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he did very well, and finally he got selected. But I'm just trying to say that it should be as you should explain your concepts and your project so well that even if a person who does not have any background in it at least gets a gist of what you did.
Yeah. And like this will happen a lot to you. Like even in technical interviews, I was asked once, like of anyone if you from ML background, like I was asked once, can you please explain random forest to your grandfather, or simply I was a decision tree to your grandfather. What decision trees are? So like everything should be very in a clear and concise and articulate manner. You should prepare your CV and your whole interview in a concise and articulate manner. Like everything should be very clear in your mind. And just one thing I
And
wanted to add to be confident and energetic. Always, whenever you enter a room or enter a Zoom meeting for an interview, always keep your smile on. Let it
yeah,
be a fake one. Like on one of my day one in placement only, like I was like I gave around 4 interviews and different round associated with all these companies, and I always had up my smile on, like no matter what. Even the company which I got selected in Accenture Japan, like my interview was in 3:30 in the morning, I guess 3:30 or 4 o'clock, and I was sleeping. I did not know that I was shortlisted for that company. I just woke up, joined the meeting, and just did some combing and all, just to make myself presentable. But I always entered the meeting with a smile on, which can go a long way for your interview, because they keep seeing like sad faces towards the end of the day, specifically if you have your interview in the later part of the day. So that's really helpful. Yeah, others go for it.
uh, adding to what Somil said, basically all this interview thing, we may want to make that your interviewer is the one who is finally going to decide whether you are getting selected or not. He should
Yeah.
feel good while talking to you. This is
Yeah.
what we meant to say. And also regarding one thing which I have observed in one of my seniors who graduated last year only. So what he did for his CV, he actually prepared short notes on each and every technical term or word he wrote in his CV. He did so fantastic ground homework for his CV, and basically he
Mm.
prepared 5 to 10 follow-up questions for what possible follow-up questions
Mm.
can be asked. This is something which I didn't find people doing, but he actually cracked his offer on day zero itself. So this is something which I just wanted to let you know that this is something which you should do. That you should be
Mm.
well versed with
Ready
each
with,
and every word written on your resume, and
yeah,
try to form possible
stories.
follow-ups which can be asked. Yeah.
Yeah, follow-ups also, and always like tell everything in format of a story, like what happened in your internship. Like that's really helpful. That makes them remember you. So that's the thing I used to do. One of my senior used to
Just
do,
in case
and
if you
then I
are getting worried, how will you do that? Practice. Don't have to worry a lot.
practice. Yeah. The most important thing that to extend others' point, I'm sure that senior must have gone for many mock interviews and prepared his CV well. Like if you have 10 days to make your CV and prepare for the interview, I would highly suggest that finish your CV in 4 to 5 days and keep 5 days just to practice for your interviews. Like going through your CV, go for as many mock interviews as much possible, like so that you get that tone right. So like maybe you might not appreciate these things right now, but I'm sure you will appreciate these things when you would be actually sitting for the interview. Like some of you might get cold feet because those would be like proper interviews for the first time for some of you. Yeah, others go for it.
No, I don't have anything to add. We can
uh,
move to the next slide. Uh,
yeah, interview hacks.
I guess
Yeah.
try to exemplify use story Somil already covered. Tell me about yourself is one of the most common question which you will face in the interview. There can be two approaches to answer this question. One can
Mhm.
be have a basic introduction about yourself, which should not last more than 2 minutes. The other way around is have a full 10 minutes or a story covering 5 to 10 minutes, and it should cover all in the short introduction. You should just mention the most important point, but in an introduction which is very detailed, like and this question can also be framed as what's your story and
Walk me through your
walk me through
CV.
your resume. And specifically, if they say what's your story and walk me through your resume, I would highly recommend going for the longer one. In this,
Mhm.
describe your journey so far. How
Mhm.
have you you can mention your school time also if you have some extraordinary achievement, or you can just start from your
Mhm.
KGP journey itself. Like how have you
Mhm.
been? How have you changed from your first year to the time you are right
So,
now?
uh,
And
uh,
what experiences and what all experiences which you had during this. Like if
mhm.
I'm like let's say if I'm sitting in a consulting interview, so one thing which I always wanted to depict through my interview was that risk optimized is judgment. This was one quality I used to demonstrate in my interviews most of the time, and for that I have prepared a story, 5 to 7 minute long story where I used to cover all the relevant things, and so that the recruiter is getting interest, so that the recruiter gets interested in to discuss more on it.
I
Uh,
love the story. Mm.
Yeah. And then the SWOT thing, I hope you must have heard about this term, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat.
Mm.
So do a SWOT analysis of
Mm.
yourself. Like what are your strengths, what are your weakness, what possible opportunities, like what are the growth potentials for you, and what are the threats, like where are you lagging. So
Mm.
work upon your strengths, eliminate your weakness, find what growth opportunities are if time permits, and uh, do ensure that your interview does not get in the direction where you have threat zones. Like I am a
Mm.
guy with not that much good at coding background, so I try to ensure that my interviews does not get towards that thing. So it varies from person to person. So Mil, if you
Mm.
want to add, or we can move to the next slide.
Yeah, just same thing. Always keep two kinds of introduction. One should be 1.5 minute to 2 minute long, and another should be 10 minute long, as others mentioned, 7 to 8 minutes long at least. And about sorts, like always have this thing right, like your strengths and weakness. At least have your three strengths and three weakness. And one thing just I want to mention separately, like regarding threats, like I have seen people mentioning that okay, like they patronize themselves, or they are some kind of narcissistic, or what they show that what are your threats, weaknesses. They used to mention that I work too hard or something like that. I work like some these kind on these lines. I would highly suggest that you should go for, this is my personal view, always go for threats or weaknesses such as which are genuine. and always come up with a solution also. Like I usually go for like I get anxious in pressure time, but over the time with the help of meditation and few other activities, I have learned to control this weakness of mine, and currently I have very much have this weakness of mine very much under control. So this is my approach to go for weakness question, but it depends on you if you go for it or not.
And these questions are these
Which are
questions are
tricky.
basically which you have to figure out what you will be answering, because
Yeah,
it's you who has to answer it. So you
yeah.
should
There's
be,
no
and
nothing wrong or right with these. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Moving to the next slide. So, Sumit, just can you highlight, or shall I take this?
Yeah, matlab, there's nothing much to cover. You are already
Ah,
end of your second year. You must be knowing what all sectors you can apply for, like what kind of internships you can go for. You can go for higher studies or research. Matlab, so definitely you would be applying for FTs or research internships in India within like in research institutions such as like in different
ISC
IITs
Bangalore
or
or
yeah,
ISC
or
or IIM.
yeah, yeah, ISC, yeah, these kind of institutes. If you
For
want to go
public
for public
service,
service,
so well,
uh,
I just want to add.
uh,
Yeah, so for public service, there are organizations such as Niti Aayog, Invest
yeah,
India, Rajya Sabha. These organizations do offer their internships. If someone is genuinely looking for opportunities in the field of public policy, I would highly recommend going there.
yeah. You can even go to
Have
every
alum,
ministry's
yeah,
website. Ministry websites also, they keep on rolling out internships. One of my cousins have gone in University of Commerce and some Ministry of Commerce, and I don't remember the ministry's name, and he got
that's
internship
great.
there. Yeah.
Yeah,
And obviously you have corporate, you can go for corporate internships, you can approach startups and big
yeah.
firms. And the fourth option, which is not very popular, but some people go for it, and I have seen my batchmates and my like juniors getting successful in this term also. If like you have some idea which you think that is really valuable and that could some turns into something very big, then you don't go for these internships and projects. Just like spend time on building your startup. And if you are not very sure about like you would or you would not be successful, if you are very much risk averse, then just like use your semester's time in building your startup and go for an internship as a backup. Yeah, that would be my advice. Others, you want to add something to it? Everyone has a different perspective to it.
Yeah,
Others, you
this
want to?
is something which is very personal. So I can't
Uh,
say like what you should do, but
yeah.
there are opportunities, and you will definitely see KGP alumni working in each and every field you will choose. I know people
Mm,
who who actually won national awards for making short documentary films. Just in case if you
mm,
don't know, we have an alumni called Samarth Mahajan. You can just Google his name. So he won national award. He previously worked in ITC as an assistant manager just after the KGP, and then he followed what his inner calling was. Just to let you know.
yeah. Yeah. Like,
And just
I
for in
wanna.
case if someone
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
going for public service, we have a lot of numerous KGP and working in civil services. One of our KGP alumni is actually Sports and IT Minister of Odisha, just for your information. I hope you guys are not aware of it, but yeah, people are doing all things, all sorts of work. So it
Yeah.
completely depends on you.
Yeah, I'm like I would be becoming an alum soon, and I would be really happy if 10 years down the line, if I come to IIT, I see like more people not just going for finance or this consulting jobs and these IT jobs. I would be really like happy to see people pursuing different kinds of profession which are not just related to these three fields, like except software development and consulting and finance and machine learning. I would be really happy, like not
Would you
everyone
like
following
to share any other
same.
slide?
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, this
So
is
this
basically for higher studies options.
so this we can skip for this
Yeah.
particular lot because you guys are just in second or third year. So yeah. Mm,
I guess
yeah, these
core
are
no-
basically non-core
I
subjects.
hope you guys attended the different profile sessions which was conducted throughout the week. So I
Yeah,
don't want to
go
get
into.
in deeper into that. Yeah.
Mm,
I guess that's
yeah.
it from our end. If you guys have any questions, you can just shoot your questions in the comment box and we can address. It's not necessary
Rishita,
if you don't have, but if someone,
Rishita has how to write a SOP for FT. So that would be just another session on that. But I guess secretaries could arrange a workshop if many of you people are interested about FTs. So these people can arrange a session on that. What's the Adarsh?
yeah, it's up to the number of people interested in because it's a very broad topic and like the in-depth
Yeah,
topic and would require a lot of time. So I don't want
yeah,
to
yeah,
delve into that.
yeah, yeah.
If someone has any other question, if not, I guess then we can conclude. And if so, please uh, drop in.